All right, so here's the watch list for the week of April 1st. First, I'm gonna go through some tickets that I like, indices, DXY, few Forex tickets, and then I'm gonna go through the requests that I got from the community. And if you're not in my free community, check the link in the description. The link is right there. Everybody's free to join, free value, free information, free classes, all of that. But this is a request. This video is for all the things that you guys requested, so I got y'all. So first of all, we always talk about time and price. Uh, this is recorded after Monday, so we already dealt with this day, so there's no need to talk about this. Now let's look into Tuesday. So for Tuesday, tomorrow, we got job openings at 10 a.m. Might cause a little bit of a reaction. Nothing too crazy. Really, the eventful parts of the week go from Wednesday and on. So Wednesday, you see we got ADP employment. In the morning, we got PMI, ISM, and Jerome Powell actually speaks around lunchtime on Wednesday. So at 12:10, I want y'all to be careful being in the market at that time in case he says some market movement type things. Be wary. And then when it comes to Thursday, we got initial jobless claims, just some Fed speakers, nothing too crazy. But here we go. Friday, U.S. non-farm payroll. Major market moving event right there is non-farm payroll. So we need to be on the lookout. That is when we're really looking to see price pick a direction, because we've really been in a lot of consolidation lately. So I think that that's when we'll finally see some movement coming to this market. But with that being said, let's now look at these tickets. Let's look at price. This red candle that you see trading here actually just opened up about 21 minutes ago as of this recording, because futures just opened up. This red candle here is what we dealt with today. This red candle right here, because this is still Monday. But if y'all know, futures opens at 6 p.m. So this new red candle just opened up right here. This is the daily chart. So as y'all see, we were able to run over all-time highs, which was something we were looking to do. We talked about this last watch list. We did run over all-time highs, and then we strongly came right back down right after that. That's not really usually a good sign for upside, but being that we've been in a lot of consolidation across the market, I don't expect too much until that non-farm payroll data comes out. So I don't really expect aggressive movements to the downside yet. Now, it could absolutely happen, and that would be great if it does. I personally want downside to come to the market, but we get it. We're gonna be careful and wait for some more information. Now, if we do happen to pop back out of this area, because once again, I did tell y'all, literally, like, the plan was we want to see if ES could hold really just about this middle area of this BTSMC, which it did, and we said we'll take this middle area back through all-time highs. So as you see, that's what delivered last week, middle area to all-time highs. And then what happened after all-time highs, which happened this morning, we came down hard. Big red. So this is what the hourly looked like. As you see, once we ran over those all-time highs, we came down hard. So for me, one thing I'm looking to see hold, if we're going to continue to the downside, is I would want to see this 4-hour SIBI hold, meaning bodies need to hold this area. If we get a body closure above this area, then I would think that at least in the short term, we'll end up pushing back above these highs. So a lot kind of depends for me on this 4-hour SIBI. I would like to see price pretty much tag into that like this. If they let me click this, I like to see price tag into that and come back to the downside. So that's something I'm watching for in the short term. Or price could just simply keep dumping and do what it's doing. That would be good for bears. But if I'm bullish, what I would want to see is price close over this. Because if price could close over this, then you should see a move back above these highs. I'm not really concerned with this 4-hour SIBI up there. This one I wouldn't expect to send price back to the downside. So if this one doesn't work, then I would expect a run back over our current new all-time highs, which is right there, and a short-term target past that. If depends how energetically move up there, will be coming to, for the micros on ES, 53, 54, 25, just coming up into that area. But there's a lot to be said before we get there. Right now, as you see, we've been pretty much consolidating. We haven't really gone anywhere for a while. So that's ES. And as far as NASDAQ goes, today, you see here on the 4-hour, we were able to do what? Deliver to the lowest body. A lot of people probably wanted to lose these wicks, as typically when people learn liquidity, they're telling you, like, take things to the bottom of the wick, and that would be great, but it doesn't always play out like that. So a safe target is always to come to the lowest body, which we delivered to right there, and immediately started to push up. I was able to catch the upside this morning, as well as a little bit of the downside. And so here we are, we're looking to push. We're looking to see if we want to make a push back over current highs here. So for me, there's not really much of a bias on NQ. It can really go either direction. Like, Like I said, ES, I told you what I want to hold is that 4-hour SIBI on ES. If that could send us back to the downside. As far as NASDAQ goes, the way NASDAQ is set up, I do feel like it wants to make a run back higher before ever having to come back down again. So I'm watching for that on NASDAQ, a move back higher. If not, and it keeps dumping, that's amazing. There's a lot of valid reasons on both sides, both bullish sides and bearish sides. So when the market is kind of in that state, you kind of have to wait, be a little more patient, wait for information. Like I typically go to DXY, so let's actually head there real quick. DXY is something that I use for sentiment. And so on DXY, look how well we sniped this, y'all. Like some of y'all remember a few watch lists ago when DXY was down here, I said I'm looking to see DXY make a move back higher after running out these lows, make a move back higher. And this was the first target and this was the second target. So we literally just got to the second target today. Very strong move. We talked about it retracing into this to move higher. With my mentees, I talked about retracing into this BTSMC to move higher. So calling it up and down, it's been a good move. And typically when DXY is bullish like how it has been, it's actually supposed to be bearish for the actual stock market like NASDAQ and ES. ES, by the way, for option traders is the equivalent to SPY. So if you hear me saying ES, I'm talking about SPY, or I'm talking about the S&P 500. So yeah, we want to see a continuation higher on DXY. I think that it's going to continue to push personally. DXY here on the weekly makes me feel that we want to come up into these highs all the way up in here, right? I think there's a strong move coming on DXY to the upside. There's a lot has to happen before that happens, right? It's not set in stone yet. I'm still waiting for some more confirmations, but so far I do see a higher move coming. I'm sorry that it looks so messy. I hate when my charts look messy, but this is the monthly view. So I'm on a monthly now, and my monthly draw is for us to come into this just about 106, 700, or you could just round it up to around the 107 area. That's why I'm looking to see DXY push into. But we need to really accelerate over these current highs that we took. So we got to target 2. We're making moves on DXY. I want to see it continue push to the upside now. I do not want to see this weekly inefficiency get revisited. So I'm about to draw it right now, right? On the weekly chart, I don't want to see us come down into here before we draw higher into these areas up there, okay? So I'm talking about for the bullish side, right? If we come back into there, then I might actually start to get bearish. All right, so that's what I want to see in the intermediate term on DXY. But with that being said, if DXY is bullish, here's some other things that I would look at is just some Forex tickers like British pound, US dollar. I've been vocal about this. A few watches ago, we talked about it making a down move, and look at the down move we caught. We caught this all the way down here, and we said we're trying to get into this monthly BTSMC. So it looks like it's coming to our monthly BTSMC target. I do anticipate it'll get there. So I'm expecting continued downside on GBP. And let's go to New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar, we talked about New Zealand dollar making a move lower a few watches ago. And as you see, look at this. We've caught this whole move. This is good. And I'm expecting continuation. So if you see with DXY, I'm expecting continuation to the upside. These Forex tickers that are pairs with the dollar, I'm expecting moves lower on those. And USD CAD, so Canadian dollar, I'm expecting higher moves. I still expect continuations to the upside, which we caught last week was a red week, and then this week so far we taken back all those sells, right? Just and today was a nice green day, and I'm expecting continuation to the upside. But as you can see, we're in a huge consolidation, so I would kind of stay away from it and wait for it to break the range, because inside of the range is never a good time to trade it. But just directionally, I have a bullish bias still. And I said last week that if Euro JPY does not use the first or upper half of this BTSMC to take these highs, if we lose the upper half of this BTSMC, then I have a draw coming into these lows. So now that we've lost the upper half of this, for me, I'm bearish on Euro JPY. I believe they're gonna make a down move. All right, so I'm watching for that. And that's all I would say on the Forex end. But let's go back to like indices, the stock market, things of that nature. So here we are on the Dow. On the Dow looks bearish to me as long as it holds certain things. So I said this as well. I said it watch lists ago that if we hold this middle part of this inefficiency, I'll draw it for y'all. If we could hold the middle of that, then I would expect to move higher. Cool. We ran out those old all-time highs. We just did that today. Ran those out, immediately came back down really hard. That's a very bearish sign typically. But being that the market is in a range, I just want more confirmation. So things I would want to see happen is we need to really close under these lows on a daily. If we lose this overall inefficiency, then I have the Dow making a move under these lows. You can always go with the lowest body if you want on this swing low. You can do that if you want to, or you can just take it to the bottom of the wick. We'll see how price trades into it. But if we lose this blue area, then I have the Dow making a move lower. I already feel like it's going to make a move lower, but once again, the market is in a range, so we want to make sure that everything is still holding the way it's supposed to. This inefficiency up here, I don't want price coming back into this. Price is free to use this one, right? There's a small one right there. Price is free to use that. It can make a move like this, right? It can do this, but I don't want it coming into the one above if I'm going to remain bearish on this ticker. So those are things I want to see hold on the Dow, but either way, I have the Dow move, making a move lower. Now coming to the Russell, we talked about the Russell using the upper half of this BTSMC to run out these highs, and it delivered. Cool. Now it's pushing back down. So it hit the target and it's coming right back down. A lot of the market is showing a lot of weakness. So I do have a bearish bias on the market altogether, and we'll see what the U.S. employment news will do this week, as well as Jerome Powell speaking. But once again, when it comes to NQ, just in the short term, sorry to go back to NQ, but I just want to make this point. I don't like the way that we're dropping. I know we ran out these all-time highs, which is what I would want to see before we make a move down. I would love to see that. It's just the way that we're dropping is not favorable. So I wouldn't be surprised to see another move higher first before getting the official drop. So I personally am looking to see if overnight we could go bullish, honestly, overnight and come back over these highs. If we keep accelerating and we're seeing bearish fair value guys being created on the way down, we're gonna take what the candles give us. But something that makes me reluctant on downside immediately, as in, you know, tonight into tomorrow into the upcoming days, is just the way that NQ is sitting. So like I can make a bull case out of NQ, even though I have so many valid bear cases out of NQ has bear cases, ES has bear cases, the Dow has bear cases, and DXY, I already told you DXY is bullish, which is typically bearish for stocks. So a bit of a mix-up, right? Which is typical of a consolidated time period. You can see this is the 4-hour time frame, and just look at what we've been dealing with. So everybody just needs to be careful and wait for time and price to align. We talk about time and price as news events, things of that nature. So we want to make sure that we let the news give us the power and the direction that we already know price is going to go. We know price is going to go in a certain direction, but it's about when. When will it happen? When the news drops. So be very careful trading before the news. So here we go. This is for CL. CL, I still remain bullish. We got to our monthly high draw. We were talking about price running over these monthly highs here from November. We finally got there today. Today got us through that monthly high. We said that we wanted to use this inefficiency to get us there, and look what happened. We used it, delivered. So everything has been playing out exactly how it should, even though we're in such a consolidated time period. It's not been an easy time period to trade. A lot of people are losing confidence and stuff, and that's because they're trading on the inside of a range versus waiting for trades on the outside. Now, if I want to see some continuation to the upside, I would like to see this daily inefficiency here. I would like to see this remain open. I don't want price to come back down here. If I want continuation, I actually would like to see CL pretty much just remain bullish, have another green day. So this candle that you see is forming here on futures that just opened up 34 minutes ago. I want to see this be a green day on CL. I don't want us to come back down here if we are bullish. If price comes back down here, it doesn't mean we're bearish. It just means that I would have to get some more confirmation before taking a trade. All right, so definitely be careful with that. Now, from here, I'm going to just take it strictly to everyone's ticker request. So first ticker request I have here now is Google. So let's go ahead and see what's up with Google. So with Google, we were able to run out these all-time highs, and now we want to see if we can get some continuation to the upside. For this 4 hour time frame, I would like to leave a bullish inefficiency here, a bullish fair value gap. So things look bullish. If you see price trade back down and closing this gap, meaning they're not leaving a, if they're not leaving a, a bullish fair value gap, then you could see some continuation to the downside come out of this. And I would have Google coming into this 4 hour gap. So a lot kind of depends on this area, how we hold this area. I want to see how we hold this area on the 4 hour. So definitely keep your eyes on that. And then, if Google remains bullish, then I have Google eventually get into 167 eventually, but it's going to take some push from the NASDAQ as well as the S&P 500. So we have to make sure that those are bullish, and then we can make sure that, and then we can see Google have some sympathy or some follow through. If those are bullish, Google is likely to be bullish as well. So keep your eyes on NASDAQ, and especially NASDAQ even more than the S&P 500, just because NASDAQ is so tech heavy. But I am looking for continuation to the upside unless we're not holding this inefficiency well. So a lot depends on this 4 hour inefficiency for me. That's for Google. Now let's get into Meta. So here on Meta, and by the way, a lot of these tickers, y'all, look like this. This is the weekly time frame, mind you. Straight consolidation. So please, y'all, when the market looks like this, you have to be patient. I know it's tough. You have to be patient. We're literally in chop on the higher time frame. Look at the daily. This is chop, y'all. This is chop. So I wouldn't even want to recommend trades on the inside of this range. But I will say that on a monthly, I do have a target of 531, but it's not as likely as targets that I'm getting when I have data to the left. Now, why do I say that? We're at all-time highs. So I have a way of getting targets once we're trading at all-time highs, but it's not as accurate as when I'm getting targets from price action to the left. It's different. It's different. All right. So for Google, we don't have to touch that 531. We came so close to it already. But now, if I want to see continuation to the downside on Google, then I want to see some. If I want to see some fair value gaps for forming to the downside, I want to see some bearish fair value gaps start to form to take it to the downside, and then we could go ahead and fill in this gap and even see a continuation down into this gap down here. And we don't have to go and fill this gap, by the way. It doesn't have to fill it, but just seeing a move to get there that can happen. So for Google here, let's check the 4 hour. Yeah, like we're literally in chop, y'all. Literally in chop. I would say that if we're bearish though, check out how we're holding bearish tools. So like a bearish fair value gap here on the 4 hour. If we draw into that, if we push into that first, does it send us back to the downside? Because if we push above it, then chances are, if we push above this, then we're gonna end up running over these highs. And if we're gonna run over these highs, we'll probably run over the highs right above it as well. Okay, so for me on Google, I would stay cash here. I would see if we're going to start forming fair value gaps to the downside immediately, or if we could tap into this blue area, will we reject it? If we don't reject it, then I would start looking a lot more bullishly up there. But in general, once again, be careful trading in a range. Be careful trading in range. So that's Google. This is Meta. Why am I saying Google? I'm tweaking. Hopefully y'all see what I'm saying. This is Meta. This is Meta. Oh yeah, the Russell. Oh yeah, I really went to the Russell, didn't I? I went to the Russell. Okay, what else? Yeah, I said at Home Depot. Let's go to Home Depot. So Home Depot. Here we are. So here on this weekly, Home Depot looks good for downside to me personally. But what I would want to see is on this weekly time frame, I would like to see if we could create a weekly bearish fair value gap. Now that's going to take not only this week but next week. The reason I say that is because starting off this bearish move, I would want to see a fair value gap form. So this week needs to be a red candle, and next week I would like to be a red candle as well. But that's definitely looking a little bit far ahead. Just in the short term, at least what I could say is I like how we came into this bearish fair value gap, projected it hard, just nice like this, and actually took out these lows. That's beautiful. Now we want to see some continuation. So what I want to see, I actually would love to see if tomorrow's candle could open up and be a red day again. Those would be great signs for continued downside. Or if we could just literally gap down, that'll be even better. But I just want to see some more bearish signs, because if we continue bearish, then I have Home Depot coming all the way down to about 343. So about 343 is where I have Home Depot going. But we have to keep holding those bearish signatures. We have to make sure that bearish things we chart hold. Okay, so look at this, like they've really been dropping off. I like their movement. They not too many tickers are actually moving right now, but Home Depot look like they've been actually having some movement. Today they were down 4%, so that's good. We like that. So I want continuation. I'm only looking for downside on Home Depot personally. Once again, I guess I'll be invalidated if we don't hold this fair value gap. For example, we just made one. I want to hold the lower half of it. I don't even want to come to the upper half. It doesn't mean we're bearish if we come to the upper half, but I'm just saying, ideally, you want price to hold the. You can draw it like this, by the way, or you could draw it higher and touch the green candle. There's rationale behind both, which I won't get into in this video. But either way, just being sensitive to this, coming into the lowest part of this and using it to go lower. And ideally, the way it's set up, I would actually not want price to use this at all. I want price to just gap down and continue to the downside. But either way, I'm bearish on Home Depot. If that inefficiency doesn't hold, then I would either stay cash or just be looking for upside personally. All right, so that's Home Depot. I'm bearish on them. Let's go to Tesla. Got a request for Tesla. Here on Tesla, we're in consolidation. We're in consolidation, just like pretty much everything else. I did say on a watch list because we caught this drop off on one of our watch list days, caught this drop off, said this was a target for Tesla. I said Tesla should come into this area. And then I said, I would love to see if Tesla could go under this area, but we need to be careful for bounces. I said, be careful on Tesla bounces between 162 and 152. And look how we really bounced out of that area. We had a nice day last week too. We gapped up. So we bounced from 160 and price went all the way to 184. $24 move came out of this area. But then here we are dropping back off again. So really in this consolidation, I wouldn't take any trades. I will wait to see acceleration above or below the consolidation. Keep it simple like that. And I wouldn't even say rush it. Like, let's say we lose these lows here from Friday, March 22nd. To me, I think if we lose these lows, then we could see price really accelerate to the downside. But in chop, y'all know how that goes. Sometimes you think price is ready to make a move and it doesn't. It could literally come back down here and still find its way back to the upside. So ultimately, like, I really think it's best to just get involved on Tesla above these highs around 184.50-ish and below these lows around 160-ish. That's what I would say on Tesla, because it's not a safe zone to trade this. You can kind of see we've been consolidating for many days. So yeah, be careful on Tesla. Here on Nvidia, same thing, consolidating. Y'all really consolidating on Nvidia. Let's see what this. Yep, this is a 4-hour inefficiency here. So on Nvidia, I don't want price to come back to this 4-hour SIBI or this 4-hour bearish fair value gap. I don't want price to come back to that. I would like price to hold this wick and push to the downside, or just simply gap down. That's for bearishness. If we do come back into this inefficiency, then I think Nvidia will continue to run out all-time highs. So I'm watching rejections pretty much immediately in the short term for continuation to the downside. Then you could target safe targets to the downside. You could take it to 867. About 867 is like a safe target to the downside. You could also target 842. But if not, if it doesn't reject in here, I don't want it coming back to this inefficiency. I think if it comes back to this, then even if it reacts at first, right, because it could do this, I still think that it'll eventually run out all-time highs. If we're bearish, it shouldn't be back up there. That's how I feel about Nvidia. So we'll watch for that. But once again, man, like the whole market consolidation, I almost want to do the whole watch list over once we break this area, because it has not been favorable. Now I got a request for Bitcoin as well. So Bitcoin here, I'm looking to see if Bitcoin could hold this daily bullish fair value gap to take us back off these highs. If Bitcoin does not hold this, then I think it will come back into, you could take the lowest body here around 63,700, or you could take it strictly to these lows down here at 61.8 or to 60,000 and some change. So what I'm trying to say is I'm bullish on Bitcoin as long as it's holding this. If it loses this area, then I will go bearish on Bitcoin. So it's been consolidating on top of this area for multiple days. It hasn't gone anywhere. So as long as we still hold this, we're bullish in my eyes. But if we lose this, I would start to see some short-term bearishness on Bitcoin. Nothing crazy. You're not going back to 10K. I'm not saying all that, but just like I said, some super short-term bearishness is what I would see if we lose that area on Bitcoin. You could also take it to honestly, yeah, the same price levels I was talking about before. I'm not even going to be getting into too much on this watch list here. So that's Bitcoin. Let's go AMD. AMD's Lee, man, we caught this whole drop on AMD. We talked about AMD losing this area and coming back right into here, and then it consolidated right at our profit target. So now for AMD, what is next for AMD? I don't know. We're in chop right at our target. We literally took AMD from up here all the way to down here, and we just consolidated. So for AMD's Lee, even the weekly is not saying too much. I do think there's more downside for them personally, but there's nothing to really be super confident on. I don't want to see a closure over this though. Over this red wick from Thursday, March 21st on the daily, I don't want to see a closure over that. I want to see us pretty much stay under this and continue to the downside. So I'm watching for that. A closure over this does not mean that we're all of a sudden bullish. It doesn't mean that. I'm just saying that that's a line of defense for me if I'm going to continue to be a bear on AMD. This is one line of defense, not closing over this wick. All right, so we watching for that on AMD. If it could hold under this, then I would like to see continuation back where? Under these lows. And if we lose these lows, we should fill in this gap. If we fill in this gap, then we could go ahead and lose these lows. So we're going to take it one step at a time on AMD. Yeah, 4 hour looks good. Yeah, I mean, even this up move is staggered. It's not like the typical up move. It's not really believable. So I would expect AMD to maybe make moves back down to the downside. So we'll see. We'll look for that on AMD. Let's go with Shopify is another request. Yeah, I remember looking at this like, man, I feel bad. Like the whole market is just in some nastiness. Like what is there to really say about this? It has nothing to go higher or lower off of. We just need a news event like non-farm payroll on Friday to kind of allow the market to move again. When the market is like this, the patient trader gets paid. That's it. The patient trader gets paid, y'all. So for Shopify, I didn't really have much besides saying that, what was it? I think it was a monthly I was looking at. Maybe where do I get this inefficiency from? This green area, maybe the weekly. I don't know where I got this green area from. I actually don't know where I got that from. But for Shopify, yes, we are consolidating here. I would like to see if we could even make a move lower, even if it's initially, if we can make this move lower, tap in it here, and then move higher. Okay, but in the short term, I do think Shopify wants to take a step backwards in the short term, but it's nothing that I would put my money on at all. I wouldn't be surprised if it went up, down. It does not matter because we're literally going sideways for multiple days straight. There's no fair value gap. There's no order block that I like. There's nothing here that tells me like, hey, I got a real nice move coming on Shopify. I would literally stay cash here until Shopify gives me something to take a trade on. So I wouldn't even mess with that personally. Y'all requested GILD. I actually don't know what this is. Yeah, I don't know what this is, but y'all requested this, so I'm gonna give you what I have. And this is another one that is obviously in a lot of consolidation, but I see that it's using this efficiency to go lower so far, but I don't like the move that it's making lower. Right, the move that it's making lower is not typically how I like to see drop-offs, but I would say to have continued downside, you will want to see bullish things fail. Like I already see a bullish area fail. We came into this. I would expect continuation to the downside. So I'm expecting continuation to the downside on this ticker, but it's nothing favorable. Once again, there's nothing that I would want to put money on, y'all. It's definitely not nothing I want to put money on. Let's see what the hourly look like. Well, that's the 4 hour. Let me see what the hourly look like. I mean, yeah, you see what's going on here. Just really choppy. I think if we're bearish though, we should hold this area on the hourly to go lower. Okay, if we're bearish, I would want to see price hold this area to go lower. If we close above this blue area on the hourly, see the way I drew it, then I would think we're going to start making a move back above these highs. So for me on this hourly time frame, I would use this to take me to these hourly lows. If we run these lows, I think we'll come into these lows. So for me, it's all about that. It's all about this blue inefficiency. If we don't even come into that and we just keep dropping, you already have your answer. Then we're bearish, obviously. So that's for them. We almost done. Just trying to get through everybody's requests. I have Oracle. Oracle, I was expecting continuation to the downside a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but I don't like how they ran all-time highs and started coming back in like this. I think that they're gonna make a move down into about 117. I'm looking for this 117-ish area on Oracle, which would actually have them actually closing in this monthly fair value gap. I don't think they're gonna leave a bullish fair value gap here. If they do, then obviously we're bullish and we'll keep pushing. But I feel like we're gonna come in and pretty much just come to about that 117 area. That will be a next draw for me here on Oracle. But things that I want to see, I don't want to see price close over this wick if we're gonna make that move. So if we're gonna make that bearish move, I don't want to see price close over Wednesday, March 27th wick. I don't want to see price have a daily closure, rather a daily closure over that. If we do have a daily closure over that, then I would have price most likely coming back into the 130-ish area. So that's what I want to see on Oracle. LVS, Las Vegas Sands. Another request here. Yeah, I'm just looking for continuation to the upside on this ticker. You could target the highest body here on 55 at 55, but I do think there'll be continuation to the upside on that ticker. Something I want to see is tomorrow be a green day. I don't want tomorrow to be a red day. If tomorrow is a red day on this ticket, then it needs to hold this area right here, right there. That area should take us back above these highs. If we lose this area, then I would start potentially targeting lows again. So LVS, I do expect continuation to upside. It's not the most clear chart, but it's not terrible. Most of the market looks terrible right now. Most of the market is hard to gauge. These are some of the hardest watch lists I've had to do because nothing is moving. And I have mixed signals on DXY versus NQ versus S&P 500. It's mixed signals everywhere, but we doing our best in the chop. And once again, my advice, no matter what we're looking at, is to be patient and wait for clear setups. It's better to stay cash and keep your money than dive into price action that's not favorable and lose money, always. And so this is the last, I think this is the last ticker I have here is no, I think there's actually a couple more, but I'll do these mad quick. So you guys requested this one. What did I have for again, man? What did I see here? Well, I expected a retracement into just this monthly bullish fair value gap. I think we come there first, at least in the super short term, super extra short term, just coming lower. I do feel that we're gonna get we're gonna get like price coming under 114. So I expect movement to the downside in the short term, and I guess things that could hold. In order for that to deliver, first of all, I would like us to do that move now. But if we do happen to come into this bearish fair value gap, we should definitely hold that to move lower, specifically holding the lower side of it. I would want to see us hold the lower half of this bearish fair value gap in order to move lower. All right. If we don't even come here and we just gap down immediately, that's even better. That's perfect. That's good for downside. We already talked about the downside targets where I want to take it. So yeah, that's how I want to see that deliver. If we come to the hot side of this, then price may actually, and I'm talking about with bodies, not wicks. So this is a daily body I'm talking about. If we get daily bodies on the high side of this, then we may see continuation back through above these highs, taking it to like just about 150, 149 is 150. So that's something I would see on. I had a couple last minute requests, but this stock I never heard of, Win Resorts. I think for them, I don't want to see continuation back above these highs. Not much to say there. It's not much to go higher off. I'm trying to just finish this really quick. This was the last one, which was Lulu. I believe Lulu was looking really good for downside, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so Lulu, I'm expecting some continuation to the downside here, man. They don't look hot to me. I definitely feel that Lulu wants to make a move really back much lower. We will want to see us maintain this bearish fair value gap. So I don't want to touch the monthly lows of February. We don't want to touch the monthly lows of February and April, right? So it's April now, first day of April. We don't want April's candle to touch the lows of February. We want to just see continuation to the downside. Ideally, I don't even want to come back into this weekly bearish fair value gap, but if we do, we gotta literally tap the lower end of it and go down. It can't be, we can't go, if we go higher into this bearish fair value gap, we're on the high end of it, then price is gonna end up going bullish most likely. So I'm really just looking to see heaviness, and that's honestly probably shown with this gap down. So I probably don't even want to trade into this gap for real. Honestly, we want to not fill this gap out, just stay on the low side and continuation to the downside here on Lulu. But Lulu definitely gives me bearish signs. I don't think we're bullish on Lulu. It's definitely showing me bearishness. And in the super short term, super extremely short term, I would target that 367 area. Super extreme short term, about 367 on Lulu. So yeah, that's all the ticket requests. Sorry that the watch list is just not really much to say. I actually am not in love with any ticker I talked about today. All the things I requested, all the things I looked at, I'm not in love with any of it. I wouldn't even put my cash on any of it personally. Those are just projections of what I think will happen. But there's some watches I come on here and I'm like, yo, we about to full port it. Like, but this ain't one of them, y'all. The market's been consolidating for a couple months straight, and y'all need to stay cash. You need to be careful and really wait for great setups. Stay cash and hey, trade safe, man. Live to trade the trend. That's what we all say. If you new here, subscribe to the channel right now, like the video, and we're gonna be tapping on me more. Join the free community. The link is in the bio, and that's all she wrote, y'all. We out of here.